Hello everyone, and welcome back to another card review. Today we're taking a look at the infamous Sheep card. And
Let's get crazy!
And after playing around a ton with this card, I think I'm pretty confident to slot this into S tier. Your opponent never seems to see this guy coming.
Let's put a smile on that face.
Wait, what? Oh my god! Hi. I'm not actually leaving Faeria. That was, just a little joke. Faeria is actually a superior game in every way, and that's why I, and none of you, can ever leave. Yeah, Okay, well, that's a wrap. Alla. Okay, that's probably the stupidest thing you'll ever see me do, but happy April 1st, everyone. We actually do have a card review today for Faeria. I thought it would be very fitting to take a look at Rapala, the prankster himself, and this card is funny. He's not all that powerful. I am going to slot him in a C tier. And C tier isn't too bad. We'll talk a little bit why I placed Rapala in C tier, but let's talk about some of the downsides because there's a lot with this card. So Rapala fills your opponent's hand with Ruby Fish. Now, the biggest glaring issue with this card is that Ruby Fish is a fantastic card. You're giving your opponent some very fantastic cards. Ruby Fish is a 1/1 collector with Aquatic, so it can kind of like swim across the board and it only needs one lake. Like, even if your opponent's not playing lakes, they can build one lake just fine, and now they have a collector that can go off and double collect while they deal with you on the other side. So giving Ruby Fish to your opponent kinda sucks. They're amazing cards. Now Rapala is kind of a Ruby Fish himself. He's a 1/1 aquatic 1 cost, but he also costs 4. And 4 lands is a lot, especially for what Ruby Fish wants to do. I mean, Ruby Fish, you want to like collect immediately as soon as you draw it. And Rapala, you gotta wait a little bit, so many downsides with this. And then the other thing is you have to make use of your opponent's sort of clogged hand. Like, you give them a bunch of fish, and like I said, like, Ruby Fish are great, so it doesn't really matter. It's not that much of a detriment to your opponent unless you can monopolize on them having a full hand, which we'll talk a little bit about in a sec. One of the probably obvious things that will happen is your opponent mills a card. In other words, your opponent has 9 cards in hand, so when they draw on their next turn, the next card they draw is going to be discarded. Which I guess might sound exciting to some players, but it's quite literally pointless. You might as well consider this milled card as like that card just being on the bottom of their deck, something that they'll never draw into. So it's not really that big a deal. The only thing it really does is like reveal some information to you in the left sidebar about which card was milled. You can see what sort of cards they have in their deck or something. But unless that player is actually planning on getting down to the very last card in their deck using all 30 cards in their deck, there's no purpose to this mill whatsoever. One other thing I realized while editing is that this mill does stop 1 card draw from your opponent for the turn, which isn't nothing. The 1 card you draw each turn is still a resource, and you're taking that away from your opponent and replacing it with a fish. So if you're in a spot where like a Flame Burst top decked by your opponent could be game winning, Rapala could help you reduce those chances for just a turn, so that is one more point to consider. So to actually make use of Rapala, let's talk about some deck lists. So I've got 2 deck lists here, a Husk version of Rapala and a red-blue control sort of thing. So let's talk about Husk first. This is going to make use of the cards like Dustbringer Wraith and Blightborn Spectre, also Haunted Husk, which benefit when your opponent has a bunch of cards in hand. So Rapala fits pretty perfectly for that sort of niche. I think I would prefer not running Rapala. Like, Storyteller and Amai Merchant are infinitely better, but Rapala can still make do in this type of list just fine. So I've talked about this list before on my channel, like a long time ago, but it's kind of changed now that Haunted Husk has been nerfed to 4 lands, which kind of fits Rapala nicely. Rapala is also 4 lands. But because Husk is 4 lands, I actually only want to run 2 now, because as a draw tool, it's very slow to come down. By the time you get up to 4 lands, it's just not as effective as it used to be. You really wanted to get that draw engine going as soon as possible in the game, but now it comes down turn 4, it's like, okay. 2 is absolutely fine, and there's a lot of removal tools in here: Soul Drain, Barter, Wind Soldier, mobility tricks to get those clears as well. So this is kind of playing as a control sort of list, because you want to keep the board clear so that your opponent can't actually play anything. The Dustbringer Wraith is very nasty when you mobility it onto their lands as well, especially if you drop a Rapala right before. You can just increase the costs of all those fish and make them a little less juicy plays for your opponent. Another card that you can consider if you just want to have fun with this is Intrepid Explorer. This is kind of funny paired with Rapala, because your opponent won't be able to get the Explore from this. If you do this sort of build, you might want to run Time of Legends. It's not going to be a very great deck, but it's just kind of a funny one. But this list, how I've built it, I think is honestly pretty competitive. Like I said, Rapala you probably don't want to run, but I mean, you can run it and it does just fine. It's not awful. It does the same job that Storyteller and Merchant does. So let's get into a match with this. We'll talk about the red-blue control afterwards. Alright, so on the mulligan here, I'm probably going to keep this, but on the mulligan you're going to look for Storyteller, Merchant, or Blightborn Spectre. Now there's only 6, 7, 8 starting creatures, which is typically like 9 is usually my standard, so this is just under my standard starting creature sort of list. But there's a ton of removal tools and draw, it makes it absolutely fine. So I kept a removal trick and the training just to move the Storyteller around a little bit. I'm gonna start with Desert Center here. For the Blightborn Spectres, not gonna drop Storyteller. I could drop Storyteller because I do have this training to go both sides. But I don't want to forcibly invest that training. I want to keep my options open. And another thing is, playing Storyteller turn 1 makes it more likely that your opponent gets a turn 1 creature, because you are drawing your opponent cards. I am just going to play the Storyteller here though. He's got to come down at some point, so I might as well. Probably going to be answered in a red list. Cypher's Wrath is pretty likely with 7 cards now in hand. But on the off chance there isn't, we'll just drop it down. Another thing is, if there was like a boss coming down here or something, Cypher's Wrath isn't an option, so we'd have to choose between playing the creature or killing this. Okay, so Desert's always the next option. Even though I've got Rapala in hand, I mean, like, she's 4 lands anyways, right? But we want deserts on the well spots for our Wind Soldiers in the future. Now this is probably red, yellow, burn. So let's see. We can drop Merchant just to protect our 2/2 so we can actually have a Collector survive. I think I'm going to go for that. Now, I don't actually think I care about giving him Brute, even though he's a burn list. I actually don't think I care, because he's already probably got enough damage. This is a super expensive card that he's got to invest in, so it's either going to be Champion or Tow Ship, and it's probably the Champion. Yeah, we're going to pull Champion here. Now, when you're picking Merchant cards, it's really good to try and calculate if you have answers to those other picks that you're giving your opponent. Always be aware of what you're giving your opponent. There's a Tow Ship that can come down here on the center and move over here. And we do have an answer with training into Soul Drain if that happens. And yeah, it does look like it's going to be red, yellow, burn. Tow Ship, just gonna go aggro. And yeah, I suppose that's fair as well. So there is training in this particular list by Mitch, so we gotta be watching out for that. Now you can see here that Rapala is kind of useless because, like, he's already got max hand size essentially, but We might drop him down. We'll see. Definitely want to play the Spectre. How important is it that I take that trade? I think I'm just going to slide this guy this way. Slide this guy this way. Yeah. Go Lake up, drop this. I think I just play the Rapala to flood hand. Make it a bit more challenging. Because, I mean, this hand size isn't really going to be dropping too much more. And then, yeah, probably just pass from here. So this does a number of things. Like, I don't use up my tools here, training plus soul drain to take the toe ship. That's just a bit too costly when he can't really do anything with this toe ship anyways, besides the one collection. I'll give it to him. So this forces a trade here, and then we get the nice cleanup soul drain at the end. Flash Wind was milled. Good to look at milled cards as well. And there's a training. Oh, you're gonna try and clean up the Spectre. Oh, just gonna go face. Fair enough. Okay. So, soul drain's gonna come down on toe ship, I suppose. Let's see. You are definitely collecting. We have a champion here to play. Yeah, I have to take this. Even though it makes me vulnerable to Cypher's Wrath, I just kind of have to. I think we're going to try to go for essentially a full clear. I'll show you in a minute. Just got to kind of calculate this in my head. I need to sidestep this guy. I need to take this trade. Then we're going to champion. Would have loved to champion here, but I can go here. Uh-oh. Okay, this does open me up to flash training, but we did just see one, so we'll see. But yeah, this was essentially a full clear because this guy's not collecting anymore by pushing him this way. I think the champion should be back one though, because training is such an easy answer here. I put him here so that he could like fly off to the left, collect, and clear something, but yeah, training was a really brutal answer here. Found the Fanatic, so he gets to collect after all. But now my Spectre has been boosted. Okay, I might need to draw here. Yeah. Soul Pact, not what I want to see in the burn matchup. Soul Pacts are very good to deal with the deck weight that I have, but gonna kind of hurt on the burn matchup. Let's see. I want to boost this guy's stats a little bit more, so we're gonna put him out of the fight. Might take this trade, or I might just go face. Problem is I kind of need an answer to the Fanatic. I guess the Spectre's kind of an answer, but I might have to take this actually. Got training Flashwind to go face next turn also. That's another option. We have like some tempo here. Maybe I do just go face. I am also going to put the Husk here. And then... yeah. So I put the Husk here instead of blocking face because I don't want to cut myself off of this space on C1 here. So if I put the Husk here on the center, then he just has to build a land, tuck the 3-2 in here, maybe even just drop like a Brute or something. And then he can slam face, and I have no option to clear with my Spectre. Which has been cleared, but wanted to leave that open for me. Flashwind. Oh, Prioritizing the husk. Okay. I guess it heals me, but he dropped under threshold anyways. I don't know if the husk was really something he needed to clear there. Okay, this fish might be actually taking this guy. So let's see, I need to drop Storyteller first. We'll drop this first. Always do the drawing stuff first, give yourself some options. Can clear this with 3, 4. Let's take a barter. From training, we'll just grab Wrath. Okay, I'm gonna have to build an extra land to take this trade, but I think it's worth it. So we're gonna go here, we're gonna go Wind Soldier, and the training to take the cleanup on the 4/4. Also lets us collect. Take that trade, sets up an aggressive land. This allows me to smack face, or I could do a full clear. I don't know if I want to do that though. Okay, so now the option becomes, do I training or do I Cypher's Wrath? Because I could just keep my fish alive. Is Ground Shaker played in this? I don't think so. This or training? We're gonna go for the Wrath and keep my creature alive. Yeah, so I was debating doing the training on the fish to take the clear, but Cypher's Wrath is kind of nice. It keeps my fish alive and gives me 1 extra collection next turn. It also saves this for potential damage going face. Like if I top Wind Soldier here, that's lethal. So training can sometimes be used as just a 1 damage tool. Is this gonna be Spectre? Spectre here though. He gets a, oh my god. That's a lot of stats. Yeah, he got 3 hits with those heralds. Herald of Wars. That's a lot. We're gonna try to fish for Flame Burst with this. If not, we have the training cleanup, but we found the Flame Burst. Perfect answer to that 3-life Spectre, which is mighty spooky. I do have to take a draw though, because I've got nothing in hand apparently. A little bit flooded. Can't really do much with this hand, so we're probably just gonna pass. Where does this teller need to go? I honestly think you can probably stay here. So, yeah, this spot allows me to collect if the fish gets answered, and it also allows me to contest the mountain if he drops something there, and I want to hit into it for whatever reason. Another thing I could have done was just gone face with the teller, with the training, Flash Wind. It's only 3, and then it sets up lethal for next turn with Wind Soldier, but it's pretty likely that he finds a clear here, so might want to save this. Brute Center. Okay, it's a little bit scared. We've spooked him. That's not a playable card, so let's take a draw. Merchant works. Can't quite go up there. He's planning to step on that land, that's fine. Let's put you down here, defensively. Ooh, Swordfish is really juicy. Now I don't need Spectre, this is a really slow card and I need to close this game out now. So we're gonna take the Swordfish instead. Rapala's gonna collect. Swordfish is gonna come and lock down this guy. Also gonna dash onto the mountain. Now in Red, Yellow, Burn, mountains are their primary creature. Pretty much nothing is in deserts except for the Origin Fanatic. So I want to step on this mountain. It prevents like me from getting taunted and stuff. And I think I might be going face here. Scourge Flame can come. But this is a really great face opportunity because he has to answer the Swordfish. So I am going to use a Soul Pact, dropping my life down a little bit. But I'm going to use this opportunity to get a 3 damage face hit here. Now you can see also how detrimental Rapala actually is for you, yourself. Like, these two fish here have been collecting for the entire game, and I haven't been able to answer them really. So this is the reason why Rapala is not very good. He's just kind of a fun card to play around with. And like I said before, like, if you just drop Rapala from this list, it becomes a little bit better. Is he going face? Okay, gonna try to answer that swordfish instead. So we should be able to find a win here then. Yeah. That taunt was a super nice pull. It makes him preoccupied while we set up the lethal with the Wind Soldier and the Storyteller. Oh. There's a Cypher's Wrath and he says, well played indeed. I have the Wind Soldier. I'm gonna smack you for 6. But yeah, that's the list. On the other hand, that Rapala was collecting for me the entire game as well. I didn't need to build lands because he's aquatic. So it worked out for me, but it worked out for the opponent as well. So yeah, like I said, you definitely need some other use for Rapala other than just giving them fish, because fish are just amazing cards for your opponent to have. But okay, let's take a look at what else Rapala can do in the next list. Alright, moving on to red-blue control now. This is one more use that I figure you can use Rapala with, mainly with Ground Shaker, because Ground Shaker does 1 damage to everything, so when your opponent plays down the fish from Rapala, you drop down Ground Shaker at no disadvantage to you, because you're already going to deal that 1 damage to everything. There are some other tools that I included here to help deal with fish as well, like Flame Spitter, Derelict Tower. These ones aren't as effective because you're actually using up something to clear off those fish, so it's not too bad because you're forcing your opponent to invest 1 Faeria into the fish, but then you're also spending something to clear the fish. But I mean, like, your purpose of this deck is control, right? So as long as you're controlling the board and keeping collectors on the board with this sort of list, you should be fine. We also have Rakowacopter in this list to also kind of do a similar thing to Ground Shaker, where it does AoE damage, so I mean, you're getting the damage pings anyways. Rakowacopter's a little bit more specific than Ground Shaker, but a pretty decent card. Typically in a red sort of control list, you want to run Firestorm, but because we're running blue, I decided to splash in some Shifting Tides as well. And so Shifting Tide paired with Rakowacopter is really nice. You can extend the range of that copter a little bit, and hopefully get this into some nice juicy spots. And the fish will definitely help you take multiple trades with these copters. Now I did include Time of Legends in this list. The last list I didn't include Time of Legends, mainly because the last list already had Storyteller and Merchant to do the exact same job Rapala was doing anyways, so you didn't really need Time. In this list, I think Time of Legends is fine. You kind of like clog up your opponent's hand with the Rapala, forcing them to play down the fish, which you don't mind in this particular list because you can just drop Ground Shaker after and get a massive clear off. So I think Time of Legends into Rapala isn't awful. But yeah, this list is going to play extremely control-y, more control-y than the last list even. You're going to go to both sides of the wells, and probably both sides of the wells. And yeah, just drop your collector down. Axe Grinders in this list, you don't necessarily need to extend to your opponent's well. Axe Grinder's a fine, solid collector just as a 4-3 for 3. It's actually insane value how good Axe Grinder is, even without the buff. And then you do actually have Shifting Tide to get Axe Grinder spots in the future. So Shifting Tide has some dual purposes in this list. And then the last card in here is Crystal Spice. You're going to be collecting quite a bit with this, so Crystal Spice can give you some deck weight that you can actually drop down. So yeah, let's take a closer look at this in game and see how it operates. Alright. So for the mulligan, you're going to be looking for Brigand or Axe Grinder. Those are the preferred cards. You can also start with Flame Spitter, but typically you want this to come down later so that you can put this 1 damage ping on an enemy creature. But might keep this. It would be nice to have like Flame Burst or Cypher's Wrath. But we can curve quite nicely into like Ground Shaker. I think we'll just keep this. You might notice that I'm wearing a different clothing. I'm just recording this on a different day. Yeah, don't always have time to do like recordings in one day. So we've got mono green, or at least some type of green. That's not good. We go mountain center. Actually, we can flame spitter here. That's nice. So because we went second and our opponent had a turn 1 play, we can actually spitter the creature. You always want to use flame spitter on creatures, never to face, unless it's like a turn 1 play, your only turn 1 play, and you just have to hit face, but this is not a burn list. The only times you ever want to hit face with a card is if you have an entire deck built around burns so that you've got actually backup to getting them down low with that. Okay. So now we typically want to go to the sides. However, because my opponent's playing green, it's probably chonky statted stuff, we might want to go down one side. Fight one side. Am I going to be fast enough for that, though? Maybe we can go 2 sides. Okay, we're going to try it. We're going to try it. So typically also you want to hold the Explorer because it's really nice paired up with Rakoacopter. You can get a surprise land boost plus the mountain to get a surprise Rakoacopter clear, but here this lets me double collect, so I might as well set that up for myself. Now my consideration there, so this is going to be your typical land formation. You go to both sides of the wells, and then from there, once your lands are built, you just keep on clicking that draw button, and then maybe when you get Crystal Spice, you can start +1ing because that's going to be a ton of value. But typically you just want to draw for some removal options once you're finished. So yeah, my consideration with going down one side, I think if this was a mono green deck, like if that desert hadn't been built, I would definitely shoot down one side, because this type of list cannot outvalue mono green whatsoever. Red does not have the tools to deal with mono green, unless you get like lucky with Crystal Spice and get Phantasm. So let's see, I would like to Flame Burst. We do have the options to also be a bit more aggressive. Like maybe with double neutral, we can double neutral. Don't mind it. Double neutral. Is this worth it? Sure. So I'm going against what I just said. But, yeah, I'm expecting a lot of stats from this deck, so the double neutral allows me to apply a bit of pressure. I did say you want to just build your lands and then keep pressing that draw button. Typically you want your opponent to come to you, but I think with Ground Shaker I might actually be able to get some heavy hits. But now that the Swordfish comes down, I may have regretted that play, because my opponent is just going to come to me now. Yeah. So this double neutral was actually a mistake. I figured that my opponent would not be so mobile, which was a mistake because he's in deserts, so that was just kind of dumb. I should have just went for the original land game plan, let my opponent come to me. Not doing a good job controlling my opponents either. Like I said, chunky stats. Very difficult to deal with. So I could take a draw. I don't think Ground Shaker is going to be that useful, I guess. If there's no buffs, the thing is if there's buffs, then Ground Shaker just gets eaten for no reason. I guess it's not the end of the world. Yeah, this is going to demand a buff from my opponent. If there is a buff, it's a little sad. But we'll make it work. Now we probably pass. I could drop Brigand as well, but I think I'm just going to pass. Save my Faeria to be able to draw next turn into like double removal cards or something. Flame Spitter can go in the mix there. This is a very risky play if there's a buff, to be fair. I may be risking this a bit much. Oh, wow. Celestial Tower. Was not expecting that. I guess I should have at least expected, like, training, to be fair. Savannah Explorer. Yeah, I made a huge mistake doing this double neutral. That just set me back super far. Getting outplayed. Copter's nice. Sadly I don't have a decent clear on the 4-4 though if I copter. I need to draw here. Yes! Does that work? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11! Exactly! It exactly works! Oh my god. What a play. We get to copter, we get to flame spitter. Yeah, all the actions happening on right side, so we drop spitter here. And then the derelict tower. Okay, we can recover from this. We can recover. The double neutral was a big mistake, but that's okay. That just set me back 1 turn. We'll recover. That top deck saved me, to be fair. So now my opponent's only got 2 cards, which is nice. Gonna teleport take out the ground shaker. That's fair. But we've taken a left side collector. And then he gets the Celestial Tower clear on the 3-3. Pretty nice line from my opponent. I do have the Derelict Tower on board to clear, but... Oh! He's got the buff. So... I think that's kind of fine with me, though. I get to just hit in with the 2-2 and collect and take that. Yeah, so we'll just take a draw. Interesting. I guess I just keep my creature alive. Or do I care? Do I need this creature alive? What else can Cypher's Wrath do for me? Probably not a lot, to be honest. There's probably not a lot of 2-life creatures that'll come onto left side. I guess it could happen. But keeping your creature alive is usually better, so I think I'm just gonna keep the creature. And we'll go for Brigand here. This also lets me set up like a double collection with Shifting Tide, which also produces me the Axe Grinder land. If nothing comes aggressive, which it probably will. 3 cards, 8 Faeria. That's a lot of Faeria, jeez. Yeah, I mean, my opponent had like triple collection for a while there, or at least double collection. Lionfish. Protecting it with training. If I had kept the Cypher's Wrath, I would have a clear... Oh no. Oh wow. Okay, this is... So if I want a guaranteed clear, I do have to produce that lake. I guess that's fine. Because otherwise, what am I looking for? I'm looking for like Flame Burst. Yeah, we might as well just take the guaranteed trade with the lake. So this is going to be our Rapala spot. We'll put it on left side so we get a double collector with Rapala. Move this land up. Take this hit. Do the Wrath. And then I'm going to step onto this forest to prevent an aggro land from coming down. Could have stepped up the 2-2, I guess, but... yeah, should have stepped up the 2-2 to prevent like Wind Soldier double collecting. But we get a chance now. Yay, Axe Grinder! Take a draw. So we got our Axe Grinder spot. That's neat. Now I have to make a consideration whether I want to leave this land open and go for collection. I'm probably fine with it, considering I have a Flame Burst. I've got 4 damage here with these. Yeah, I'm pretty fine with that. Last turn was the important turn to cover this land, but now we at least have some answers. We can draw next turn too, so we should be good there. I have Time of Legends, right? Yes. Overgrown Tower, very nice card into the Lionfish. Wow, this player is actually not making too bad of plays. I've never actually seen this player. Kilt. I faced him earlier today. I've done a couple recordings trying to get a decent recording going. He destroyed me just by popping down a Runin, and this list doesn't have many answers to Runin, except for Rapala. Here, let me take my turn. I'll explain why Rapala is a good counter to Runin. Weird thing to say. I could take the trade with the 2-2 on the Lionfish. plus Flame Burst, then I don't have a trade on the 4/5. He's got Celestial Tower though. I have to build land if I do that. Yeah, I don't want to build land. I'm gonna draw. Copter. I really want to step this guy aggressive. I'm gonna need some aggressive options now. This Derelict Tower is gonna have to take up the Celestial Tower. I could use this to draw. I think I'm gonna go for Copter. Oh my god. Let's draw a card. Oh my god, I got it. Okay. Should have thought about that turn a little more, but yeah, we definitely had to take out the Celestial Tower to take away this line on the left side. I was looking at my Derelict Tower taking it out, but we had the Flame Spitter in hand. But yeah, what I was saying about Runin, if you kill off Runin, she comes back to the game opponent's hand at end of turn. So if you Rapala after killing the Runin, or at any time on that turn, then the Runin actually gets milled. So we'll see if Runin comes up this game, and maybe we'll hang on to the Rapala just for the counter, because I know that this player is playing Runin. There's time. I might actually use this to deck filter because my Faeria count is so high here. I think it's probably worth it. This is like essentially one Faeria draw card. Let me get Ground Shaker. So I think I will hold this just in case Runin comes down because I don't have a lot of answers to Runin. I kind of had to bank on Crystal Spice into Phantasm on that previous game I was talking about, but very difficult to make that work. I guess we just take this out with Ground Shaker. Yeah. Ground Shaker Tower. Also takes out this tower. That's nice. We'll start marching these guys aggro. You can probably come over to fight the fish. I don't mind that. Gives me some extra numbers over here. Probably should have stepped the 2/2 back in case of training though. But not the end of the world. We got another tower. Oh, on Lionfish. Gonna try and save him. Okay, so we'll just draw. Lots of drawing with this list. And there's Crystal Spice. So now we probably are gonna +1. This is gonna be very expensive. Might just step back with you. Yeah, we'll step back with you, and you will step over. Then pass from here. No point in really playing the Spice, because I don't have 7 Faeria. Unless, this can get you the Colossus, the blue Colossus with discounts, or the yellow Colossus. I guess I could have gone for that, but I don't think I have any places for Colossus to come down. Another thing with Spice is this can get you like high land costs, like Ice Rock Behemoth, so we may have to use our Power Wheel for producing extra lands depending on what this gets us, because Ice Rock Behemoth is almost a must pick. It's just such a strong card. Even though you have to go up 2 more lands, it's such a strong card. I'm feeling pretty confident about this one. I think the only potential way we lose this is with Runin, which we are just gonna save this Rapala for. I've got a pretty good collection established here. I hope I can keep. I mean, 7 Faeria is a lot. There's the Rooted! Yay! I'm actually kind of happy we get to show off this interaction. I kind of forgot to mention that in the sort of description, but I didn't think it was that relevant. Probably gonna make my opponent invest a bit more Faeria in Runin though. Definitely gonna take Flame Burst. I think I just Spice here. See what we can get. Those aren't good picks. Siege Engine just for the ranged? It doesn't feel very good though. I don't think I'm gonna play any of these cards, to be fair. Maybe even Bold Bargainer is not bad. If we dump our hand. What's gonna be good late game? Maybe just Walking Fortress. Oh my god, what a terrible crystal space. This is 7? Wait, why is this 7? Have I really damaged my opponent that much? I guess we'll just take it. That's a very juicy card, actually. So this happens, this happens. Move this. Take this. Step. 7, 7. Just come here, target the lands. Maybe this spot was better, so I can target this space. We'll see. So the Runen gets a trade here. We should be able to trade back in Rapala, kill off Runen. There's an option to like force our opponent to invest more into playing this, but I think just killing it once and for all should be nice. My opponent might surrender once he sees that. Ooh. Not going for the collection. Maybe Wind Soldier? I maybe dodging the Colossus, I guess. I don't think it matters that much. Okay, I'm running out of cards to... Just gotta be careful about that. Can push this to face soon. I think I'm just taking the rune in here. It feels worth it, so I think I'm gonna do this. We'll take this. Is this worth it? We go like this, we go like this. This happens. Rapala happens.
Put a smile on that face.
And bye-bye Runen. Yeah, we'll go up aggressive, I guess. Bye-bye Runen. Oh, and there's the instant surrender. Yeah, I kind of felt that coming. Runen was pretty much our opponent's only out, and we had, ironically, the only counter. Well, I mean, another counter is just simply transform. Rapala is such a clean answer to Runen. That was a very fitting end. But anyways, I hope that helped you understand Rapala a little bit better. And if there's a card that you want to see me do next for this card review series, please do let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And I'll see you in the next one.